very good evening to you. I am Lisa Lord, and my special guest is the Executive Director of Intimate Hotels of Barbados, Miss Davina Layne. Thank you so much for joining us on your program.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here.
Indeed, you are most welcome. I want to start very basic by looking at the grouping of itself, which consists of just over 40 properties.
That's right. So the Intimate Hotels of Barbados, an organization just 23 years old. Some may say that that's old, some may say that that's young. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But the Intimate Hotels of Barbados has 43 members. We are a membership association of small, locally owned hotels, apartments, guest houses. We also have 2 villas in the membership as well. And this organization, formed back in February 2000, was really formed so that we could look at economies of scale and look at what we can do together. So the organization really focuses on marketing the properties, and we also do other things for them. We assist them with training. The office serves pretty much as a facilitation and, introducing members to maybe products and services that would help them. And we also provide a level of advocacy for our membership as well. So as I mentioned, all small, and that being under 75 rooms, all locally owned, and both of those are criteria for membership. So you have to meet those 2 in order to be a member of the Intimate Hotels. There are other criteria. One relates to rate, for example. We actually market ourselves as the affordable members, affordable properties, I should say. And so there is a particular rate that you are not allowed to go over in order to be within our membership. So I think that that's kind of the Intimate Hotels of Barbados in a nutshell.
And in total, you said that the properties can't have more than 75 rooms, but in total, how much do you contribute to the island's room stock?
Right. So we actually have just over 1,000 rooms. I think we're at 1,035 currently. So quite large if you were to think of us as, standalone hotel. Very, very, very large. I think the largest hotel in Barbados now is the Wyndham, which will be just over 400 rooms, and we are double that plus.
As a small hotel association for locally owned hotels, are there any recent initiatives that you would have undertaken for your members?
Yes, so we have been trying for a very long time to push this segment of the market. Many times when people think of Barbados, they often think that they are not able to afford to come here, or that it is for a particular category of person. And so we have been trying for a while to debunk that and show people that actually, yes, there is room for you here. We do have properties that you can stay with if you come to Barbados. So the types of initiatives that we do for our members relate to things like attendance at trade shows. Many of our members will not be able to afford the individual trade show fee. So we do that for them, and we go and we represent them as a group. So we've done quite a few trade shows already for the year. We have a few coming up as well. We produce a brochure for our members to use. They can put them in their accommodation properties, and we also take them when we market them at trade shows. One of the main things that we have been trying to do is increase visibility of the Intimate Hotels brand. There are still so many people who are not aware that such an organization exists, such a grouping of properties exists. And if they've heard the name, unfortunately, they aren't quite sure exactly. I get people asking me all types of things and calling all other hotel names in relation to the Intimate Hotel. So one of the things we do is we push the members on the social media platforms, and I'm really glad that, at least since I have been with the organization, we have seen a real increase. I think at least sixfold increase in followers, in engagement on our social media platform. So that is a good thing. But I do know that there is still much more that we can do in that area. One of the big initiatives that we have just signed off on and we are really pleased to do is channel management. Now, channel management is where the members can be linked to overseas operators and people can book directly online. And so we have been able to just secure an arrangement where we can have all of our members listed with a channel manager. And this is something that we are very excited about because it would, bring a lot more visibility and bring a level of parity, I would say, as well, across the grouping. We do have some of the larger members who have done this on their own, but now we are able to represent all 1,000 rooms. We will be able to represent all 1,000 plus rooms in one space. One of the other things that we do for our membership is maintain a website as well, where we have them all listed, their rates, etc. Many of them do not have their own websites. And so this is an opportunity for them to still be visible to a certain extent. So those are a few of the initiatives that we have done in the past. We have also just completed, and it's probably something that we will continue to do. We have just completed a PR exercise where every month we featured one or two of the intimate properties and the owners and told their story. So we have, I think at the last count, featured 14 of our members in that way. And we are going to be looking at how we can bring that all together in, maybe one, book, so that this remains in perpetuity and that people can read the stories of the membership. We're encouraging more members as well to come forward and share their stories with the public also.
No, I heard you mention affordability there. However, if we do a price comparison to our regional neighbors, competitors, Barbados seems to have priced itself out of the market. We are an expensive destination. How do you respond to that?
Well, Lisa, it's something that I hear, and well, we all know what the cost of living in Barbados is like. I think my response to that, though, however, would be to say, in the Intimate Hotels of Barbados, we believe that there is a property for everyone. There are people who will be able to splurge thousands of dollars on luxury, and then there are people who will not be able to do so. And so we believe in the grouping that we have a property that will suit everyone's taste. If you are in that category where you want to come to Barbados on vacation, but you are not able to splurge, then we can find something for you within our grouping. And that is what we want to get out there to the general public. That is really what we want to push. Our tagline is Barbados on a budget. If you have a budget, a strict one or whatever type of budget, we can find a property for you within our membership.
And because I'm on a budget, that doesn't mean that I should be coming to a property that perhaps has not been upgraded in quite a while. That is another complaint people are making, where people are saying, I'm paying 2023 prices for a room that was last renovated in the 80s.
Well, we have members who ever so often they do their upgrades. I will not say that every single person is able to afford it. Unfortunately, I don't think that people understand the costs involved in maintaining a hotel. It really is quite expensive. I mean, if you try to do a renovation at your house, you know what that cost is like. And multiply that by 40 rooms, 50 rooms, 60 rooms. So it can be quite expensive. But our members are aware that this is something that needs to happen. The product does need to be refreshed. And so many of them during slow periods and downtimes will do things to keep things fresh. And so because they understand that this is necessary, it is something that, yes, many of them will try to do, you know, ever so often. So I won't say that every single person is in that category, because unfortunately some persons are not able to afford that level, but we will be able to find a property for you that will be acceptable in the affordable range.
And speaking of slow time and downtime, let's look back at the COVID-19 pandemic, because that's when you actually started with intimate hotels. Let's look at the impact that pandemic had on the intimate hotels grouping.
Right. So as with everyone, the height of the pandemic, or the pandemic in general, was an extremely tough time. The Intimate Hotels of Barbados, we have members within our grouping that have been present in the accommodation sector in Barbados for many years. And when I say many years, I'm speaking about 40 plus years, 50 plus years, even a few over 60 years. So these are our members who have been around for ages. Imagine family operated type property, and you have someone who has been working with you for a very, very long time. COVID was a severe blow because the hotels were shuttered. People were not allowed to work. Well, none of us were allowed to work. Places were closed. Huge impact on livelihoods of the employees, their households, and, as we remember, the economy in itself. And so, like you mentioned, I joined May 2020. I joined, jumped into the fire. And I would say during that time, the focus was really on keeping the members together, keeping things positive. Coming out of that, I believe, was where, we started the much closer interaction. So we have the WhatsApp groups and, the Zoom meetings, and trying to just keep everyone together and keep everyone positive. COVID was a very, I guess, frustrating time, a very uncertain time. People didn't really know what was going to happen. And it was about really keeping people positive. And keeping the members together was also about them sharing stories with each other about how they are navigating the situation. So I think that was one way that we were able to really, really get through it, by ensuring that, we kept everyone together and we were able to see people through in that way.
Given how difficult COVID was, did you have any properties that said, you know what, this is enough for me, I've had it, put the property on the market?
We did have one property that closed. I won't necessarily say that it was totally because of COVID, but COVID may have been the straw
Accelerated it, yes.
that brought the camel's back. So we did have one property that closed, and they have since been sold and renovated.
And this takes me back to two questions before. A lot of properties did not use that downtime to do renovations and upgrades.
Because the income was not there. So without the income, you are not able to do that. Because think about it, in such an uncertain time, and you're not sure when next you're going to open back up, you're not going to use your reserves necessarily for that, especially in situations where there were people that had to end up paying severance and these sorts of things because of the closure. So that would have been priority, dealing with your staff and making sure that they were doing fine. And so unfortunately, it was a situation of priorities. And at that particular time, reserves could not be used for that.
But government would have intervened and offered some assistance there.
Yes, government did intervene with the BEST program.
That's correct.
And there are members in our midst who would have taken up. I know for sure members would have, because the BEST program did involve, yes, some element of retrofitting, but I believe the main take up was in relation to the training element of the BEST program. And so we do have members who would have taken up both the retrofitting and the training, but more so the training than the retrofitting. Remember, it is still a situation where the money needed to be repaid.
Right. How did your members fare during the recent summer period? We had the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association saying that the numbers were very sluggish. How are your members faring?
I think we faced a similar situation during the membership. I mean, during the summer, I'm sorry. The crop over time, there were some members who did quite well in the peak crop over time between late July to early August. But overall, we saw similar numbers to what the BHTA would have reported. It would be key to note here that about half of our membership are also BHTA members, and so oftentimes what they reflect can be very similar to what our current membership is also facing.
Let's look at projections for the upcoming winter season. It's just around the corner, a few weeks away, really.
Yes, so the upcoming winter season is looking promising currently. We are seeing occupancies, I would say, over 60% right now. And so we know that as we get closer and closer, that things will only get better, because as the bookings get closer to that winter time, the occupancies will increase.
So while projections are looking good for the winter season, there is some level of concern that the airlift is not there. Do you share a similar sentiment?
Airlift, it depends on how you look at it. For me, I really do like to look at what is there and what is being done. So yes, it may not be similar to what we had, for example, in 2019, but I will say that especially for this season, we know we will be getting flights, out of America, increased flights. And Cayman Airways is also coming on stream. We would have had Bahamas Air for the summer period. So I prefer to look at what is happening versus what is not, because at the end of the day, it can be a tricky situation getting the airlift back. And so it is good that we do have what we have. We do recognize, like I said before, that it is not what it used to be, but it is also, not as bad as it could be. And so we are grateful. We look forward to the increased flights coming on stream in the winter period coming and beyond.
Are there any markets that you're looking at that concern you with regards to airlift?
Not deeply concerned. No, I will not say that there are any specific markets. I won't say that there are any specific markets that deeply concern me at this time.
Okay. Going back to the summer period, because that's when us Bajans see the staycation specials coming out. There is concern again that not enough staycation specials are offered to locals.
And that's interesting, because I think we do quite well in putting the offers out. We know that summer is a huge period for staycations, with children being off from school, parents taking vacation to spend some downtime with their children. And that really is the height of when we will see those offers out. So I am quite surprised. I think people just need to stay tuned to social media pages. I know for sure our social media page is filled, especially in the last 2 months, with tons of staycation offers. So we do offer staycations, especially in the summer. And staycations are not only for the summer. Many of my members will be offering staycations right now. Some actually right up until
November. Yeah,
November.
I've seen some.
So we the specials are there. The specials are there, and I think people just need to stay tuned to the media, social media, traditional media, to listen to when the offers are put out there. You do have hotel offers. You have hotel for stays, as well as day passes. And we've seen daycations. I see people
Yes.
referring to daycations so it's like a day pass, but you can get a room with it as well. So they are out there.
I know you know where I am going with this. What makes it special for locals besides a reduced rate? Some of these specials don't include a little breakfast.
Well, Lisa, the reduced rate makes it special. Imagine you are getting everything that a visitor would get for that reduced rate. I can't speak to other properties in Barbados, but within my membership, I can surely say that the majority of my members will offer a staycation special with breakfast. They will offer you the option. All of our members don't have restaurant
Yes.
facilities, so that may be the tricky thing. But the great thing about the Intimate Hotels of Barbados is that large percentage of our membership is what you call self-catering or self-contained. So even if the property does not have a restaurant on site to offer you a breakfast deal included or lunch or whatever included in your staycation special, you can actually prepare your own meals. And that may be advantageous for some in terms of, keeping their costs down.
And we've also heard complaints again, and I'm sorry, I'm just reporting what I have heard over the years, that the locals, when they do take advantage of the staycation specials, they're treated differently to your visitors on property.
It's interesting. And, sometimes, Lisa, as a customer, I also experience many of the customer service experiences that people talk about. And I will say that it is unfortunate when that happens. I really hope that those sorts of things don't emanate from within my grouping, within the Intimate Hotels of Barbados, I should say. But unfortunately, it is a fact of the matter. I have also traveled, and especially if you travel to a majority Black country, sometimes people don't even see you as a visitor. And that has happened to me as well. So I'm not saying that it is something that should happen. I'm not saying, because of course you are spending your money, and your customer service experience should be a quality experience wherever you go. So I'm just saying that I really do hope that the troublemakers are not within my grouping. And what I will say is that we do endeavor, from the Secretariat's point of view, to provide our membership with training opportunities. And we've actually just recently completed a series of customer service training workshops. And so they're able to send their employees to be trained if any issues arise. I'm sure many people know how to treat people. We do, because we know how we would want to be treated. And so, it is my hope that these sorts of reports will not persist.
And it is a service-oriented industry, but
Absolutely.
Are you not satisfied, therefore, with the level of customer service overall?
Within my group, I have not heard of these awful reports of lack of customer service training, or these customer service issues. The thing about the Intimate Hotels of Barbados Secretariat, so our members are independently owned. If we do hear reports, we report it back to the member, but it is up to them as a private individual operating a business to put the steps in place. So we have a certain level of influence, but not, a major influence, I would say, in it. But we do try to facilitate the training opportunities where possible and assist them in any other way that we could. But Lisa, in all honesty, in terms of customer service in general, yes, we do know that it is a challenge. I think one of the challenges we have in Barbados in terms of service is a familiarity, where because if you know that I am a Bajan as well, you think that it's almost like you think that we are now friends or we are now buddies, and the level of service that you need to provide is not really the standard that it should be at. And so that's something that we definitely need to watch, our familiarity. And this is a general thing, not just within the hospitality and tourism sector. But I will encourage persons who work in these sectors, retail, tourism, and hospitality, just to remember and to understand as well the connection between having customers and a business, for example, remaining open, or you, for example, receiving your salary at the end of the day, the week, the month. And I think once we make that connection, I think, naturally we would be able to treat people as we would also want to be treated if we are spending our money in an establishment.
All right, Ms. Layne, still a lot more to discuss. Stay with us. You're watching One on One.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Danielle Reed Malilo and I'm a general physician, and today we're going to talk about knowing your risk for obesity. In Barbados overall, 2 out of 3 adults are overweight and 1 out of 3 adults are obese. Also in children, 1 in every 3 child is overweight or obese. There are some health parameters that you should know about yourself. These parameters are your blood pressure, your HbA1c and fasting blood sugar, your weight, and your BMI. At home, you should have a blood pressure monitor, a glucometer, which is a blood sugar machine, and a scale. And from time to time, you should document these readings, and you should also be familiar with these readings. You can also take a diary with the readings to your doctor so they can better help manage your condition.
Barbadians, we invite you to get involved and play your part as we clean and green Barbados. Come into your community with media launches, bulk waste collection exercises, community engagement sessions, and giveaways. Get on board. Let's keep Barbados clean and green.
Beautiful, beautiful Barbados.
As Barbadians prepare for the Atlantic hurricane season, here is some basic information for every household. A gallon of water per day per person for consumption to cover about 2 weeks. At the very least, a 3-day supply of dry goods and canned foods. An adequate supply of prescription and non-prescription medication, along with a first aid kit. You will need to stock up on hygiene supplies like toilet paper, toothpaste, and soap. If you have a baby, you should ensure you have extra diapers and wipes, as well as any special food items. You should ensure you have flashlights, batteries, and a portable radio. At this time of year, Barbadians are advised to avoid buying excess meat, frozen foods, and other items that require refrigeration in the event that electricity is lost for an extended period of time. This would result in spoilage and a wastage of money.
combining affordability, cozy accommodation, and great service. The Intimate Hotels of Barbados represents over 40 of the best small hotels, apartments, guest houses, and villas spread across the island. These locally owned properties are committed to providing caring one-on-one attention and a truly unique and special experience for all guests. We look forward to welcoming you soon.
Welcome back as we continue our discussion with the Executive Director of the Intimate Hotels of Barbados, Ms. Davina Layne. Ms. Layne, last summer, it was reported that some small hotels owe about $40 million to the Small Hotel Investment Fund, which is managed by the Enterprise Growth Fund Limited. A year later, can you tell us about the level of debt owed?
Right. So I may not be able to quote you a specific number.
That's fine.
But what I will say in relation to that is that our members have experienced significant challenge. And especially coming out of the COVID pandemic where, things were extremely, extremely challenging. There was no income. I will say that the vast majority of the members of the Intimate Hotels of Barbados who have taken loans with the Small Hotels Investment Fund are very good at making their repayments, and that the number of delinquencies, I would say, are actually very, very few. Very, very few. So that's what I will say about that. Very much so in a greater way, or in majority, I should say, do pay their loans.
And just so that I can understand, we're talking about 85% plus?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. More than 85% of people are current. I will also say that if they are not able to pay, they will make contact with the Enterprise Growth Fund Limited and make arrangements. So the level of delinquency is actually, in terms of the numbers of persons, is actually very, very low.
So you cannot tell us how much of that debt has been repaid from 40 million?
I don't have that figure on me right now, so I will not be able to say.
Okay, I'll hold you to providing it at some point. From where you sit, do you think that enough support is being given to the Intimate Hotels of Barbados?
I will say that support is increasing. We have lobbied successfully for a seat on the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.'s board, and this has been granted to us. We have also had various meetings with our most recent Minister of Tourism, and he is very interested in assisting us in whatever way that he can. Our current minister is also very keen to make sure that he's doing so from a point of view of knowledge and insight. And so he wants to have the data and the information that he can make a case on our behalf. I will also say that having the seat on the BTMI board has really allowed us to, give our input and to be able to, share in that process. And we have also been able to receive commitment from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. for greater support as we move forward. So I will say that support for the grouping is definitely increasing, and we're very pleased about that.
I guess the flip question to that would be, are your members doing enough to help themselves?
That is a good question. Our members, I believe, are doing what they can. You will always have across any membership, persons who may do a little bit more than others. But I believe largely definitely greater than 50% of our membership will respond to our requests, as we make them, requests for all types of data and information, including occupancies. We do have about that level as well, around 50% or so that will be engaged, come out to meetings, etc. So I will say that for the most part, many of them are doing what they can to help themselves. Yes.
We have been hearing for some time about plans for the group to start a cooperative. Where are you with those plans? And you're smiling very broadly.
Yes, so the cooperative process, this was an initiative started under our previous chairman, Mr. Mahmood Patel, and he was very keen on making sure that this is something that we move forward. Currently, at this point, we are at the process of revisiting the bylaws. So we all need rules and regulations, when we create various structures. And so we are at the point of having our bylaws reviewed legally. And from there, these are the new cooperative bylaws. And from there, they will go to the cooperatives department for their review. So we are in the process of setting up the structure for this cooperative.
What is the single greatest challenge for your members? And that's a broad question.
It is the single greatest challenge. Well, there are two that, or is that three now, that immediately come to mind. One is labor and labor shortages and making sure that we have the right people. Two, I would say, would be financial, access to low financing so that members can do the type of renovations that we all want. When we go on staycation, we want to know that we're staying in a nice room, right? And so access to low financing is something that we discuss ever so often within the membership. And marketing, the marketing and the visibility, making sure that we are really hitting the consumer that is the consumer for Intimate Hotels of Barbados, that specific target market. Within our grouping, we actually do quite well with families. We do quite well with sports groups. Many sports groups actually, come to stay within properties in the Intimate Hotels of Barbados. And so we want to ensure that those types of groupings that already do well, as well as others, singles, maybe even business people. And I know these are all segments that we've hit in the past, but if we can, improve the levels of visitation from all of these target markets, then I know that will serve us in good stead. So those would be the three main challenges. I don't know if one stands out above the other, but those are the three that immediately came to my mind.
Well, one does stand out for me. You mentioned marketing and financing, which are pretty much straightforward. Let's look at this labor shortage and getting the right skill set.
Yes, so there is a challenge across the grouping where, we have a situation where a vacancy may arise, you recruit for that vacancy, but unfortunately the person doesn't stay. And this is something that we're seeing. And it would be good to possibly maybe do some type of investigation into why. We believe that one of the reasons is that the level of pay that they may be able to get at a property in a different category would most likely be more than a property in our category. So that's one reason. There could be others. But yes, labor is, I guess people might say there's a shortage. We know that there are many people actually going to work on cruise ships, going to work overseas, There are persons who would have retired from the industry, and coming out of COVID, there are persons who may not have returned and would have started their own businesses, etc. What I would love to see more of is a real targeting in relation to programs like Job Start Plus and internships, where we really get the linkages with the educational institutions and with the government in the case of Job Start Plus. And I will say pleasantly so, that we do have members within the Intimate Hotels of Barbados who have signed up to these programs and regularly, have interns and trainees, etc., so that they can really train the next group of persons coming into the market. And this is something that we want to see more of.
And the trade union movement has been exceptionally critical of those in the industry. And I'm speaking holistically because you mentioned the salaries are not as attractive. It is also not a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job. We are talking about shifts. We're talking about people being away from their children on weekends and bank holidays. So perhaps that is where the issue lies.
Yeah, so tourism is a 24/7
Yes, it
industry,
is.
tourism and hospitality, I should say. And if it is where you would like to be, it's where you want to take your career, then you need that level of commitment. You need to understand what you're jumping into before you jump into it. And if you are in a position to work shift and to accept the training and that sort of thing that is needed up front, then yes, by all means, we're happy to take you. But we know that everyone is not going to be able to work shifts. Some people prefer steady hours. And so, yes, it may not be the sector for everyone.
So when Barbadians see the notice from a property seeking to recruit some person from outside of Barbados, we know that that is a last resort because you have done your scouting locally and you cannot find that person. And I'm asking this because we know that they have been very critical of those in the industry.
Right. So within my grouping, I can't say that I can speak to that. I don't believe that within my grouping we have many people who would put out applications for work permits. And within the hospitality and tourism sector, like any other sector, you will have specialized,
Of course,
specialized roles where the type of person is not here. We do hope that people have done the level of investigations that they need to do, and that the person really is not someone that could be found in Barbados. But within my grouping, we wouldn't have that level of persons applying for work permits for non-nationals.
we spoke about challenges facing the sector. We know one of the other challenges that you did not mention, the Airbnb market is giving you a run for your money.
Absolutely. And how could I forget that? They really are. And, it's something that we want to tackle via getting the marketing right. I mentioned this before, and I think with me and with the board, the current board, we are really trying to focus on what we can do, right? There will always be challenges and stumbling blocks, but what can we do? How can we ensure that we are doing right by ourselves? And one of these ways is getting the marketing right. If we can really ensure that we are doing the best that we can for our members in getting the word out there, getting visibility to them, showing them, giving them all the training that they need, showing them the things that they need to do, putting them in touch with the right, maybe technology or product or whatever to help make their business a little bit more seamless, maybe reduce their costs. If we can do all of this for them, then we believe that, it would really serve them in good stead.
And I called it a challenge, but realistically, competition is healthy.
It is. And within the Airbnb market, yes, they may be able to afford to, charge a cheaper rate because, maybe they're operating out of their home. They don't necessarily have all the
overheads.
overheads and within the hotel space, hotels are inspected, they need to get licenses, fire, they need to ensure staff is trained in health and safety, all of these things, right? And so there is that difference, and that difference also creates a price point difference. If you have to do all of those things, it would create a price point difference as well. And so yes, people may jump at a lower rate, but it is something that we know that we need to address and address firmly. And we want to do that by looking internal, looking at ourselves and seeing, well, how can we improve and what can we do? And I think that's the direction we're going to focus on in terms of tackling that challenge.
You mentioned looking at reducing costs. Now, going through your bio, in 2017, you were chosen as one of 10 Caribbean women to be part of the Women in Renewable Energy Network. Which brings me to my next question. Are your members taking full advantage of renewable energy systems? Right now, we are going through, I want to call it a heat wave. It's lasting quite long. The AC units are burning at full capacity. We know those electricity bills are going to be really high at the end of the month. Are your members doing enough to reduce their costs?
And again, this goes back to having the funding. So yes, we do have some members who have retrofitted and who are looking at incorporating renewable energy in their space. We do have many, however, who may not be able to afford the upfront costs. Yes, we believe that there is more that could be done. One of the ways that we are looking at tackling this is, as a grouping, looking at starting a pilot project. Hopefully, we've actually submitted a proposal to the UNDP to look at a pilot program within the Intimate Hotels of Barbados grouping, and it would be a program focused on renewable energy and waste management. And if everything goes well and we get the funding to implement that program, it would really give us the impetus then to be able to really show the membership, hey, we've done this. This is the pilot. We've shown that it could be done. You can also do it. And within that program, there is also built in lots of training and awareness raising with the membership so that they would be able to understand what's involved in making that type of decision, a decision for renewable energy and what the payback is like and that sort of thing. So we are hopeful that that is a project that we could get off the ground sometime soon.
I know that you don't run hotels. However, your members do run hotels. We've been hearing reports of some visitors complaining about price gouging. We saw recently the head of the BHTA, the chairman, Ms. Coppin, talking about the rate some taxi drivers are charging visitors when there's a standardized rates rather. Then we hear about some visitors going into maybe some establishment. A local might be told it's $4 Barbados, but a visitor is being told, oh, it's $4 US. Are you getting those reports?
I have not personally received these types of reports. I will say, though, that it does absolutely nothing for brand Barbados, and I would encourage that people desist from this. People, sometimes we think short term and not long term. You might get a quick buck, but what does that mean for brand Barbados? What does that mean for someone returning to spend their money with you over and over and over again? And if you think of that in comparison to the quick buck, which one do you prefer? And so if this is something that is persisting out there, I really would encourage people that it hurts the brand and that they really need to cease and desist.
And Barbados continues to benefit from repeat visitors.
Absolutely. absolutely. Within our grouping, we see a heavy level of repeat visitation. And this is something that we want to continue. We want people to have memorable experiences of Barbados. We want them to hold Barbados in high esteem. You know, we saw how COVID pretty much shuttered the entire country when tourism was closed. And I know, as much as, you know, people say, you know, people have their opinions about whether it should be the number one or whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But we saw the knock-on effects. And so we know the importance. And I think we really do need to do what we can to keep the brand in high esteem with persons, so that that repeat visitation can continue.
And it's still our business, and we should play our part.
Absolutely, Lisa, absolutely.
Now, you joined the grouping in 2020. 3 years later, and looking towards the future, what is your vision for the Intimate Hotels of Barbados?
So for the Intimate Hotels grouping, I think one of the first things that I would really love to see is Intimate Hotels of Barbados becoming a household name. And not just a household name, but that people truly understand the properties that are represented within the group, truly understand their place in Barbados. You know, one of the things I get to do is, you know, on various webinars, etc., listen to people talk about the landscape of hotels in Barbados. And people love, non-nationals who come here to visit, love that there are so many independent and boutique properties, and that we are not filled with brands. Yes, we do have a few, but they love that it is more so the independent boutique property. And that is really the makeup of Intimate Hotels of Barbados. And so my vision is that people really understand the makeup of the organization and the contribution that the Intimate Hotels of Barbados has made and will continue to make in the Barbados landscape. One of the other things that I would love to see is that we get this channel management up and running, that it works well, and that we are able to maintain that as well, and keep the members connected to the various channel managers, not just for the next year or the next, but well into the future. And I spoke to it earlier, but getting the marketing right, and we are going to really look at how we can ensure that we're doing all that is possible within the resources that we have to really get the marketing right for our members, to really get them visible on all the social media platforms, all the ways that we could get them visible in traditional media as well, all the ways that we can get the word out in all of our overseas markets. So those, I would say, are three key areas. And one of the other things that I would like to see in terms of my vision is a level of standardization within the membership. And when I say that, I don't mean that I want all of our properties to look alike, like a brand hotel, where you know that, you know, you go to a particular hotel and this is the way that it's set up. But in terms of the level of service, that there is a standard across the board, that once you come to an Intimate hotel, you know that this is the service quality that you expect. I want our members to keep their individual feel and look, but the quality must still be there, especially in terms of service.
Ms. Layne, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit and speak with us this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. It really was a pleasure.
It was indeed. Thank you so much. That was Ms. Davina Layne, the Executive Director of the Intimate Hotels of Barbados. I'm Lisa Lord. You are watching One on One. Do have yourself a wonderful evening.